ahead and reconvene to open session. Report out of closed session meeting. There was no reportable action. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and adjust the agenda. I'm going to move item number 8 up to next item, which is the administration of the firefighter's oath. So that will be our next item. So if we could have the firefighters and the reserve firefighters, please, I'll turn it over.
Good evening, Board of Directors and general members of the public. Can I please have Firefighter Sean Hanlon, Firefighters Jonathan Huffman, Firefighters Alexander Ruffer, Firefighters Kelby Jecker, Firefighter Christopher Hinkle, Firefighter Joseph Weimer, please go to the front.
Oh, I forgot to redo the pledge.
Let's do that first. That sounds good.
Yeah. All right, I'm sorry, I was in a hurry but let's go ahead and please rise for the pledge for those of you who weren't here at the beginning. I'll ask our fire chief to lead us, please.
Please place the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And now can I just have a brief moment of silence? Okay, thank you. So,
before we start the badge pinning, our South Bay Reserve firefighters participate in a rigorous hiring selection process consisting of application review, physical ability test, and interview. After being selected, they must complete an extensive in-house academy which is focused on essential firefighter duties like fire attack, rescue techniques, emergency medical care, and local orientation of the area. Upon completion of the academy, which consists of 6 weekends, each firefighter must complete a rookie task book. The rookie task book is based on a series of tasks of junctions that solidifies the training that they've already received in our in-house academy and on other academies. Lastly, each firefighter must work at least 2 shadow shifts, which allows them to work alongside our daily staffing and our full-time paid paramedic firefighters to understand the day-in and day-out operations. With further ado, I present to you our South Bay Reserve firefighters.
I guess I don't have to stand over there. Okay, I'll give you the oath of office. Please raise your right hand. I state your name. Do solemnly swear that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States.
Do solemnly swear that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States.
And the Constitution of the State of California.
And the Constitution of the State of California.
Against all enemies, foreign and domestic.
Against all enemies, foreign and domestic.
That I will bear true faith and allegiance to the Constitution of the United States.
That I will bear true faith and allegiance to the Constitution of the United States.
And the Constitution of the State of California.
And the Constitution of the State of California.
And that I take this obligation freely.
And that I take this obligation freely.
Without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion.
Without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion.
And that I will well and faithfully discharge the duties upon which I am about to enter.
And that I will
I will well and faithfully discharge the duties which I will enter. Thank you. Congratulations, and you're now.
All right, now I would like to bring up family members, significant others, to do our annual ceremony, which is, this is the part that means the most to the firefighters, is that the actual pinning of the badge. So please, if you're family members, please come up with the badge, and please pin your loved ones.
You can go out there.
right, well, thank you very much. Do you want to take another picture, Carrie?
I got it.
Okay.
Just want to say welcome and thank you. Thank you, sir. For everything. And thank you for being part of it, too. Everyone's sacrifices. Thank you.
Break it in half because it doesn't make any sense. All the glory.
Thank you, Shay. One more time. Did you ever do that?
Thank you so much for your service. I come from a long line of New York City pirates. We love them. Thank you so much for your service. Greatly appreciate it.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you again, and these are our South Bay firefighters.
One more round of applause, please. Any more photos? Oh, hold on. One more picture.
Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Thank you once again. Thank you again. Thank you again. Thank you. Thank you again.
Before closed session? That's fine. Good, perfect.
Okay, so, again, thank you guys very much. We appreciate it. So, Ann, could we have a roll call out of closed session, please?
Yes, sir. Director Fourcroy?
Here.
Director Millage? Director Womack?
Present.
Vice President Sesania?
Here.
President Ohilski?
Present.
Thank you.
Okay, with that then, we'll move on to the general action items. First of all, item A, consider and discuss providing 30-day notice of termination of agreement for consulting services with Grace Environmental. Councilman.
Thank you, President and Directors of the Board. Your action item here today, 7A, is to discuss providing a 30-day notice of termination with Grace Consulting, who has acted through that consulting agreement as your general manager. The agreement does provide termination at any time by either party upon a 30-day notice. And so there's no staff report presented to your board, so this is an item that you're familiar with. But I will now just direct it back to the President and your board for discussion and public comment.
So do we have any questions before I go to public comment? Okay, so we'll go to public comment on item 7A, please. Please state your name for the record.
Julie Tacker, and I support the board's decision to give the 30-day notice.
Thank you.
Lynette Tornotsky. I am shocked. I feel like blindsided by all of this, and I'm extremely sorry about this. I mean, I think Ron Munz is a great person, but I love Renee. I think she's done a fabulous job for the board, and I don't know. I'm just sorry to hear this happen.
Thank you, Charles Grace, owner of Grace Environmental. We're willing to support the decision that the board is going to make. It's a mutual support on our part. I think, and I know that Renee's efforts have been tremendous here in Los Osos, and we can just look around this room and see the benefits of Renee's efforts, not only in this immediate office, but also out in the community. So we will, as I said, mutually support the decision that the board makes, and I appreciate all the efforts that Renee has provided to Los Osos.
Thank you.
Hi, Steve Vinson, Los Osos. Just wanted to say, Renee, thank you for everything that you've done for the chamber, for the community. I don't know what your plans are, but I just wanted to say thank you. And you've been a good friend to Los Osos, and we really appreciate it. So.
Lou Tornatsky, I'm sorry to see Renee go. She has been someone you could actually work with. And some of the years I spent in this job, that wasn't necessarily the case. So she's done a lot of things that I think were wonderful. I'm sorry to see her go. And sometime I'll find out about how this all happened.
Good evening, Lindy Owen. I just wanted to thank you for you've just brought a little bit of fun into the office, and I remember you out there digging that old tire crap out of the children's park, and I just want to say thank you.
Emily Miggins, and I just want to say I've been in government, big government consulting for 20 years, and I've never really seen anything like this. As a resident, I'm disappointed. I've worked really hard to volunteer to bring community-based initiatives together with our fire department, and I'm sorry. Each one of you really, it's beyond the pale. Leaving Renee out of this, but her firm, don't know what went down. Usually if you're PMing a program for a county, and trust me, counties that make, SLO look like the tip of my pinky. Those are the things that I've worked on. And I have never seen the lack of not only support, but the lack of communication, not just with the public, but, perhaps with the firm at large. And since I've lived here, I don't know, we've been through 2 general managers. I personally am just wondering what this CSD is really about. I am extremely disappointed as a 5-year resident here. I'm new. And this is grotesque.
Any other public comment? Seeing none, I'll close public comment and bring it back to the board. Would you, Matthew?
Yeah, I'd like to recognize Renee. Personally, I've talked to you already on the phone. The support and hope you've given me, learning about this job in this district, is invaluable. So I really appreciate all of your efforts, and not just personally what you've done for Los Osos and helping us move forward. I think you came in at a very difficult time and made things a lot better. So I really appreciate that.
Thank you.
And I'd like to also thank Renee, and I concur you improved the way the CSD ran immensely. You clarified the financial reports. When I first started looking at them till how they are today, they're much better. If you seem to work really well with others, county, with the board. I know you put in extra effort. You worked to remove those tire chips on your birthday. You had to do the refinancing and the audit, or at the same time. You kind of had to do double duty. If you didn't know something, you would always come back and try to have an answer by the next meeting. So I appreciate your service. So, thank you.
I want to thank you for the effort and the energy you brought to the district, and especially for specific items like the grant, the 8th Street well. That's very important to the district, incredibly important. That's a $240,000 grant, and I especially want to say thank you for that. Definitely appreciate that, and I guess in my mind, this is a chance to hire Ron Munns, and I've appreciated him for a long time. Thank you for everything you did for us.
So last but not least is me. Again, I want to thank you, Renee, for all your service. I think that you're a critical component in the turnaround of the district from our previous general manager and, for lack of a better term, some chaotic direction that we had, or lack of direction. So I want to thank you and Charlie for your efforts. Thank you. So can we have a motion here, please? I don't have a staff report, so Jeff, could you tell us what the motion would be?
I would suggest the motion would be to provide 30-day notice of termination of the agreement for consulting services with Grace Environmental Services.
Thank you.
So moved.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, any further discussion? Okay, seeing none, we don't need a roll call, do we?
We don't.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Nay. None? Pardon me. Okay, so we'll move on to item 7B. Consider and discuss the appointment and employment of Ron Munns as general manager and compensation for amendment of the general manager if so appointed. Jeff, I'll turn it over to you again.
Thank you, President Ohilski and members and directors of the board. Staff report for you that I'm sure you all had a chance to review does provide a summary of Mr. Munns' experiences in the community and his bullet point of many accomplishments that he has made throughout his distinguished career. And the highlights of the contract are this is a proposed 3-year term and at a salary of $150,000 annually plus benefits. Of course, approval of the contract and of Mr. Munns' compensations are matters of to be discussed in open session. So public comment would be appreciated prior to a motion and a vote. But if you have any questions about that, I'm available to respond. But I will turn it back over to you, President Ohilski.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, one thing I just wanted to point out in Ron's resume was I think we're moving into the next step now. I think Renee did a good job of getting us back on track. But I think now we have to start dealing with the water deficiencies, for lack of a better term. And Ron was responsible for, when he worked for the city of San Luis Obispo, the city of San Luis Obispo is recognized in the state as having the most water supply availability of any city in the state of California. So I think that's one of the things that has attracted us to Ron, is now as we move to the next phase with that experience, we think that's an important experience to have, and it is on his resume. So if we have any other questions otherwise, I'll go to public comment. Okay, public comment then on item 7B, please.
Good evening again. I'm Julie Tacker, and I also support this item. I encourage, and I mentioned this at your closed session, your board to explore making Mr. Munns also the executive director of the Basin Management Committee. I think a dual role could be well served. When I describe Ron Munns to people, I've known Ron probably 20 at least of the 40 years we've both been here, 40 plus. I have described him as a water conservation guru, and he has statewide recognition in his expertise associated with water conservation. And since our district is doing well, I'd like to see what he might propose for the future. So I very much look forward to him coming on board, and I have no doubt that the district will be in a good place come that time.
Lindy, I just wanted to welcome Ron, too. I've worked with him in the past on a couple of different issues, mostly water conservation oriented, and he's very level-headed and definitely has good background to help us through the era ahead that we need. And another thing I forgot to thank was, as much as I was not totally wild about the posters, you did a great job with that, Renee. So I think you probably helped with some water conservation efforts. So, but welcome, Ron.
Thank you. Any other public comment?
Your favorite person of the night, Emily Miggins, resident, big taxpayer. So was this a sole sourced contract or, employment offer? I didn't see a job description go out. No offense to Ron, who I don't know from Eve or Adam. Typically, when you want expertise, you do a search. I have water expertise. My husband's a hydrogeologist. He used the word last night, nepotism. I don't really understand this. Again, as a government, large from the White House on down, people, I don't understand what's going on here. And I would seek that clarification from our esteemed board members to understand the exact process that happened here. How many resumes do you have on your desks, in your docket? When you want the best sustainability manager, you seek that throughout the state of California, throughout our county. I haven't seen that happen. And it doesn't mean that he's not qualified. What was your process? I've never seen anything like this. And by the way, I'm a high-level sustainability executive, okay? So I don't understand this. And Renee, you've done a darn good job on shaky ground. Thanks.
I share some of the comments of the previous speaker. How did this suddenly get to a point where we whacked somebody who's done wonderful work? Now, her replacement is a great guy. He's competent. So she. I would love to know what happened. And I have some suspicions, and so do other people.
Any other public comment?
Richard Margetson. This should have happened 4 years ago. We wouldn't be in this position if this had happened 4 years ago when Ron applied. He was actually asked to apply by 2 directors. Put his application in, took a leap of faith, ended up being disappointed. Look at the general managers we've had since then. And for those that are touting the wonderful experience that we've gone through and how far we've come, they have not attended all the committee meetings. I've worked with Ron on 4 rate studies for this district, all at no cost to the district. I've seen him at work in other venues. In my past life, before I moved here, I worked at the highest level of government, too. And I'll tell you, Ron Munz is a superstar. Superstar. In his field, he's a superstar. Should have happened 4 years ago. I think the district could be running like a fine oiled machine right now. I'm hoping in the next 3 years that we actually do get the financials in order, that we do know what's in each fund, that we do know that we have the right reserve accounts. The water issues, I don't think that's going to be a problem for him. I think that's going to be a piece of cake. Make the right decision tonight. This is important for the future of the district. And maybe when he turns it over to the next person, it's that well-oiled machine that anybody can run.
Thank you. Any other public comment? Seeing none, I'll close public comment and bring it back to the board.
President Ohielski, may I just make one note for the record here that before your board in this motion is the appointment of Mr. Munns as the general manager, approval of the employment contract that's attached, authorization of the president of the board to execute the contract, and including agreement of your board of the proposed compensation of $150,000 annually.
Any further discussion? If not, I need a motion.
I guess I want to address particularly one person out there that hasn't lived in this town that long. This should have happened 4 years ago when Ron first expressed interest in working for the district. It didn't happen. It could have happened 2 years ago, but he was a little snake bitten and really didn't want to participate. And I think that we're fortunate, and again, this is what I look at as a chance to hire a truly outstanding person in the water field, and that's basically what we are as a water district. So I will make the motion to appoint Mr. Munns as general manager pursuant to the terms and conditions as outlined in the employment agreement attached hereto as Exhibit A, and authorize the president of the board to execute the employment contract.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Okay, oops, did you? Oh. Can we have a roll call on this one, Ann, please?
Vice President Cesenia,
Yes.
Director Fourcroy,
Yes.
Director Womack,
Yes.
President Ohielski.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll move on to, again, I want to thank Renee for her service and Charlie for their service. So that's one, I'll probably say that a number of additional times, but I wanted to do it. So last on general action items is item 7C, discuss approval to defer Ann Kudart's retirement to August 31st or longer at the discretion of the general manager. As you know, Ann's been ready to retire. We have her replacement on board, and it was just a feeling that there needed to be a little more transition time for Ann to, I don't want to say train, but to educate her on, because Ann has a lot of historical knowledge and with the district, et cetera. So she was willing to stay on for an additional month, and I think that's I think it is needed. Yeah, Renee, I agree. So that's the purpose of this item, is just to extend Ann Kudart's retirement date, or defer her retirement date till August 30th. So anybody have anything to add to that? There's no written report. That's it. Okay, so we'll take public comment on this item, please.
Julie Tacker, and I have a Post-it note on my computer that has the countdown for Ann's departure, because I am going to sorely miss her. She has been the stalwart of this district since 2005. Yeah, and this district will sorely miss her. So while I support the extension, there's not any staff report to say whether there's additional compensation, and that's the transparency that we all deserve, because I almost think she deserves extra compensation for the battle scars. But I appreciate that you're willing to work at the same price, and if the new general manager needs you a little bit longer, please don't hesitate to hang on, because he needs that transition as much as your replacement.
Thank you. Yep, Richard. You need this back, or can I play it?
And came into the district right at very interesting time for Los Osos. Very interesting times. Meetings that went way beyond 10 o'clock. 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3:30. Ordering pizzas in before they closed so we would have something to eat at 3 in the morning. Always been very professional with the public. Didn't matter which side of the issue you were on back then. I thought she was very professional, answered questions. On this item, August 30th, that's fine, but I would hope that Ann would be available after that for her replacement and Ron to call and answer questions, because what Marshall said, the historical knowledge, she is the one in the district. I'll just use a term you've heard before. She knows where the bodies are buried. She knows where the information is. There's numerous times at committee meetings that something's brought up from the past, and everybody in the room is deer in headlights, other than maybe a member of the public and a board member that was there at the time. And Ann immediately knows what we're talking about. So you're going to need some of that. Ron's going to need some of that. Her replacement's going to need some of that. And I just thank her for her service to the district, the community, and enjoy her retirement, but be available, because in order to transition, we're going to need that help. Thank you.
I think, Lindy, indefinitely we are going to miss Ann. I've already been missing her, so kind of like Julie, I knew the time was coming, just because it's been many, many years. So think about it, 15 long years of monthly meetings, and sometimes more often. So as much as you're going to enjoy retirement, you're going to miss us, I'm sure, but not for long. And I do hope we stay in touch and you come back and visit lots. So thanks.
Any other public comments? Seeing none, I'll close public comment. Yeah, I'll just piggyback on those comments. Ann wants to go home or back east and become a grandmother full-time, so I totally appreciate that. So I'm glad that you're going to be sticking with us for a little bit longer. So do you have a motion for this, Jeff, or what do we need to do?
Yes, I would suggest that you make a motion to defer Ann Coudard's retirement date to August 30th, 2019, or longer at the discretion of the general manager.
So moved.
I'll second that.
Any other discussion? We'll take a roll call on that, too.
Oh, wait, I have a little discussion.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Thanks for, I know you want to go see your grandbaby, so thank you for the extra month.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I would say that that was one of my greatest frustrations in the 36 years I worked for government, is that typically the person's gone, burning up that time that they have on the books before the new person starts, and often there's no overlap. I felt very sorry for the person who had 24 hours to go sit down with me in my 36 years and say, this is yours. So thank you. Appreciate that.
We probably should have done this at the beginning, but can I maybe have you do it now? Introduce your successor to the rest of the board?
Would you stand? This is Laura Durbin. She started on Monday.
Okay, great.
She was at the FAC, so
Yeah, we've had a good 4 days. She was introduced to FAC her first day.
we should have done that at the beginning. I apologize. All right, so can we have a roll call, please?
Yes. Director Womack?
Yes.
Vice President Sesania?
Yes.
Director Fourcroy?
Yes.
And President Ohelski?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, with that, then we'll go to our public hearing items. We have 5 items on the public hearings for the tax rolls that have to be done on an annual basis. So we'll start first with A1, Do we have, how are we gonna have a staff report, or how are we gonna do
The
this?
staff report is before you. Staff recommends that you conduct separate public hearings for each assessment roll to consider all objections or protests to levying the following assessments and collection in the tax rolls. 1 would be Bay Ridge Estates, 2, Vista de Oro, 3, drainage special tax, 4, fire protection and prevention service special tax, and 5, District Number 1 wastewater assessments.
Okay, so the first item will be Fund 200, the Bay Ridge Estates Fund. Nope, okay, public comment then on Fund 200, Bay Ridge Estates Annual Service Charge? Okay, seeing none, we'll close it to public comment. Any discussion? Okay, by motion then, we're going to do them one at a time, so by motion then, can we go ahead and have the motion that's in your package there, but just for Bay Ridge Estates? Or do you want to?
Do each one for
I think it's easier.
Bay Ridge Estate?
Yeah.
All right, so the motion is the board adopt Resolution 1915 as listed separately. We have Exhibit A. I have them here because it was too large to publish for Bay Ridge Estates, and direct staff to submit adopted resolution and tax rolls to the county for collection.
Any more discussion? Okay, can we have a roll call vote? Oh, I need a motion, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
So moved.
Seconded.
Move and second. Roll call vote, please.
Vice President Sesania?
Yes.
Director Womack?
Yes.
Director Fourcroy?
Yes.
President O'Hilske?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, the next item will be then the the assessment and collection for the tax rolls for Vista de Oro annual service charge. Any questions?
Did we skip fire?
Well, I'm going in the order that they're in the motion here.
Okay.
And on the agenda. You're looking at the chart, I know. Yeah, I saw that. Okay, so we'll close public comment and bring it back to the board then. So I need a motion to adopt resolution.
I move that the board adopts Resolution 1916
Yes, sir.
and levy the charges, special taxes, and assessments as listed in Exhibit A over there for Vista de Oro drainage. Or Vista de Oro, not drainage.
And direct staff to submit the adopted resolution and tax roll to the county for collection.
Yes.
Okay, is there a second?
Oh, were we going to allow public comment on each one, or it was
Yes, we have
public?
to.
Oh, so we didn't do that on this one? Are we
Yeah, I just
voting?
did. There was no public comment.
Okay, all right, I second then.
Okay, thank you. All right, can we have a roll call, please?
Director Fourcroy?
Yes.
Director Womack?
Yes.
Vice President Sesania?
Yes.
President O'Hilske?
Yes.
Thank you.
So the next item will be the same discussion for the drainage special tax. So do we have any discussion on the drainage special tax? Public comment on the drainage special tax? Okay, seeing none, we'll close public comment and bring it back to the board.
I move that the board adopt Resolution 2019-17 to levy charges, special taxes, and assessments as listed separately in Exhibit A for the drainage assessment, and direct staff to submit adopted resolutions and tax rolls to the county for collection.
I'll second.
Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Vice President Sesania?
Yes.
Director Fourcroy?
Yes.
Director Womack?
Yes.
And President O'Hilske?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, next item on here is the Fire Protection and Prevention Services Special Tax. So it's the same staff report. Does anybody have any comments on the Fire Protection and Prevention Services Special Tax? Okay, seeing none, we'll close public comment and bring it back to the board.
Okay, I move that the board adopt Resolution 2019-18 to levy charges, special taxes, and assessments as listed separately in Exhibit A for fire protection assessment, and direct staff to submit adopted resolutions and tax rolls to the county for collection.
Any second?
I'll second.
Any further discussion? Roll call, please, Ann.
Director Forquart?
Yes.
Director Womack?
Yes.
Vice President Sisania?
Yes.
And President Ohelski?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, that'll bring us to the last item then, which is the District Number 1 wastewater assessment. Does anybody have any questions on that? Okay, we'll go to public comment on the last item on this item. Okay, seeing none, we'll close public comment and bring it back to the board for a motion.
I'll try it. I move that the board adopt Resolution 2019-19 to levy charges, special taxes, and assessments for wastewater services, and direct staff to submit adopted resolutions and tax rolls to the county for collection.
I'll second that.
Okay. Any more discussion? Roll call, please.
Director Womack?
Yes.
Vice President Sisania?
Yes.
Director Forquart?
Yes.
President Ohelski?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, with that then we'll move to 9B, which is a public hearing to adopt a resolution submitting district past due water accounts as listed in the general manager's report of delinquent water charges and approve collection in the fiscal year 2019-2020 tax rolls. Staff report on this one?
Yes, staff report is in the packet, and we are requesting that your board conduct hearings to consider all testimony or protests to collecting a delinquent water account in the fiscal year 2019-2020 property tax roll as listed in general manager's report of delinquent water charges, and adopt, which is Exhibit A, and adopt the resolution confirming the report and authorizing the collection of delinquent accounts on the tax rolls. At this time, we only have one delinquent account, which we are requesting.
All right, so public comment on this item, please? Oh, pardon me, anybody have a question before I go to public comment? Okay, public comment on item 9B. All right, bring it back for motion discussion.
One delinquency, is that pretty typical? I mean,
We've really come down.
that seems pretty good.
Yeah, I think between Jose and Liz Radvansky, our
Okay.
utility billing specialist, we've really brought it down. So we've had many, many, many more in the past. So the past couple of years, we've only had one.
Yeah, I was in shock too when I learned there was only
Waiting for a
one.
full.
I know.
Well, in that case, I move that the board adopt Resolution 2019-20 confirming the report of the district general manager for delinquent water collection charges and authorizing the collection of delinquent charges on the county tax roll.
I'll second.
Okay, a motion, a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Director Sisania? Oh, I'm sorry, Vice President Sisania.
Either way. Yes.
Director Forquart?
Yes.
Director Womack?
Yes.
And President Ohelski?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, with that then, we'll move on to item number 10 on the agenda, which is for public comment for items not on the agenda.
Good evening again. I'm Julie Tacker. And first I thought you had a comment from somebody previously when you had the general manager item up. And I think your board could still explain that professional services do not require a search. The general manager, the attorney didn't require, those hirings do not require a search. So your board took advantage of that. The other thing that I'd like to hear from the board at some point soon is an update on the election expenses and any idea if we're going to get reimbursed for those. And then I wanted to invite your board and the public to begin to pay attention to the upcoming applications for cannabis cultivation in the Los Osos Valley. There's an application in our basin currently, and its water use is of concern to me. and I'd like your board to pay close attention to the water use and the water calculations on that. But the other applications that have come forward have intense visual impacts in the valley. I don't know if you're all commuters like I am, but I enjoy my drive to work and I enjoy my drive home. And I don't really want to see the valley cluttered up with hoop houses. And so I would ask that you pay attention as these applications go forward through the county, and that we as individuals, or maybe you as a board, take a look at that and join me in opposing or encouraging some sort of screening or something that we can stomach, because I think we're going to be really disappointed when the valley has multiple grows with plastic hoop houses. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Any other public comment for items not on the agenda? We have Richard.
Richard Margetson. On your last item, just a question for the board, maybe for future. The drainage tax, it's been the same forever. Does the resolution that established that, does it allow it to be reduced? I know you can't increase it, but does it allow it to be reduced if there was a reason to reduce it in the future? Because I know you can on the special fire tax, if you don't want to take it, the entire amount or the entire CPI, you don't have to. Just a question, curiosity. And then, not for our own gratification, the three of us who worked on the water rate issue and recommended to the board the reduction, or not reduction, but not taking the increase this year, so basically saving everybody approximately $100. I don't think any of the three of us are looking to get our name in the paper or anything, but I think it'd be a point of information to put out to your water customers that you didn't do this year. It's kind of, in the overall history of this county, I don't know how many times that's been done, or a reduction. I kind of consider it a reduction because it was voted on and it wasn't taken, but basically the rates aren't going up, so people are saving. I just think it'd be a nice thing to put out there to the residents in your water district, to let them know that the upcoming years they use the same amount of water, their bill will be the same. Everything else is going up. So, thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comment? Okay. Oops, Lindy.
Lindy Owen, I wanted to mention that Tree and Landscape from the LOCAC group has been meeting with the county parks people, and I find it fascinating that after the years that we've worked on a dog park idea and worked with the county about a dog park in the area between the Catholic Church and the tennis courts, that the people that run the park, county parks, have no idea. And they're still carrying around maps that show tennis courts going in there. So I just want to say, nobody knows that and I appreciate Renee's energy into putting together that, and I know it's kind of on hold, but I don't quite understand how we're not acknowledged as a group that moved forward with plans on putting a dog park in that area, and that the main people that run the park have never heard of the idea. One of them lives locally, and so that it's going into the community plan as tennis courts, nothing more. And along with that, I wanted to go to Coastal Commission and argue the point that the Habitat Conservation Plan is so far away still, even though it's, I think, been 14 years that we've been waiting for somebody to decide the snail habitat. that we can't build an extension to our library. And that extension is all based on needing about, a quarter of an acre of the Tri-W property, and actually the property that belongs to the county for that area. And it's up to this community to take a look at those situations and say that we can build a library add-on for a lot less money than the county is proposing. Unfortunately, well, we have to pay for half of the library. So if we can get that price down to something smaller and work with the Coastal Commission to get this habitat conservation plan and get a agreement to let us move forward early, like the big developers that are moving forward with no problem. They are being able to put their habitat conservation plan mitigations together seemingly painlessly. So waiting 14 years for a library extension is kind of frustrating, and I think that we should all be a little more involved in this community plan that's coming forward, because it's missing a lot of updates. It was last looked at something like 9 years ago. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comments? Seeing none.
I just wanted to say one thing real quick. Lindy, thanks for that info. We'll definitely touch on that on Tuesday at Parks and Rec and see how we can interface more with the County Parks Department. Yeah, no, thank you. That was really helpful.
One thing I was going to bring up on that same subject, this came up at the LOCAC meeting, the last LOCAC meeting, and Supervisor Gibson made it clear that the tennis courts, that the dog park, if the tennis courts were a worst-case scenario, and under the environmental review, that the dog park would be an allowable use because of the analysis for tennis courts. So that was brought up at LOCAC.
Yeah, that was my understanding, that they've already have it penciled in and will do the change, but it'd be nice, I'll ask Nick Franco to give us an email so that we all feel at ease about that they're going to do the change to the community plan.
All right, so
I want to address Mr. Margitson's comment. 10 days ago, I think it was probably at our pre-agenda staff meeting, I volunteered to write that letter to the editor about the not taking the rate increase. So I'm the one who has been slacking, and I will get on that letter.
Yes, you were. I wasn't going to point fingers at you.
No, that's been on my mind.
Okay, all right, with that then we'll go on to item 11A, the Fire Department report.
Good evening, Board of Directors and general members of the public. My name is George Huang, Battalion Chief, North Coast, Cal Fire, San Luis Obispo County Fire. Today is Thursday, July 11th, time period for May 25th to June 30th. Your South Bay Fire Department, Los Osos, San Luis Obispo County firefighters responded to 171 calls within the district. We were down 7% from last year, and last year we were at 183 calls. We had 4 callbacks for reserve firefighters due to multiple calls within the district. Out of 171 calls, we ran 96 medical aids, 1 cliff rescue, 21 traffic collisions. We had 6 miscellaneous fires, from grass fires to house fires within the community, 7 hazardous assists, in anything from oil spills to just assisting any abandoned oil or any containers that are around the community. We assisted the public with 21 times, anywhere from falling out of bed, someone fell out of the shower or something like that. We came and we assisted with them. And we had 19 false alarms. With the weed abatement first inspections, we had 600 violations within the community of Los Osos. Out of the second inspections, we are now down to 57. Our final inspections will be the week of July 22nd. As you know, I appreciate a very quiet 4th of July in the community, as it wasn't so quiet when I was in Cayucas for the evening. And if you stop by Station 15, you would notice that I appreciate, thank you for everybody, that the painting has been started, and it's been a long time coming, because that station really needed it. And as you know, if you're looking through the community for the next 9 days, we have started numerous projects within the Fire Safe Council, and they're going to be working all throughout the community to make sure that we are safe in the days to come. Any questions?
No. Any questions? No. Thank you, and thank you for the reserves.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Renee.
Okay, we'll move on to the Sheriff Department report.
Good evening, Justin Nelson, Commander at the Sheriff's Coast Station. For the month of June, we had 544 calls for service and took 60 reports. At this time last year, we had 561 calls for service and we took 76 reports, so we're down slightly. We responded to one battery call in Los Osos. It was regarding coworkers at a landscaping business. They were working outside a residence in Los Osos and they got into a fight. Both parties requested charges be filed and it's being forwarded to the district attorney's office. We had a total of 30 disturbances calls, notable. We had one disturbance call at the community park where a male and a female were arrested for public intoxication. We had 2 burglary reports. We had one burglary in the 1300 block of Las Encinas. The loss was prescription medication and cash, and one suspect was arrested in that burglary. We had a total of 6 thefts during the month of June, various items stolen from vehicles and a skateboard stolen from the bed of a truck. As always, just a reminder, always lock up all your valuables. Lock your vehicles and keep your valuables out of view. We had 3 vandalism calls of note. A vehicle was keyed in the Ralph's parking lot, approximately $900 in damage, and there is no suspect information at this time. We had one phone scam. The phone scam was involving a ransom where the caller said they had their mother and demanded money. The reporting party or victim ended up contacting his mother, and that was not the case. That's a very common phone scam that has been ran multiple times over the years. And that is all I have for you. Do you have any questions?
Thank you. Do you have any questions?
The audience might.
They don't. Any questions?
Did you have any problems with vacation rentals?
For June? Not that I know of.
Okay, so thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Have a nice evening.
All right, we'll move on to Utilities Department report.
Good evening, Mr. President, Board of Directors, members of the community. My name is Jose Acosta. I am your Utility Systems Manager. And the reporting period that I'll be reporting on today is for the month of May 2019. We'll go ahead and start off with the water production information for the Los Osos CSD. The total production for the month of May was approximately 15.1 million gallons of water. And this equates to an average of approximately 487,000 gallons per day. And this is a decrease in production from last year by approximately 3.5%. So we are continually decreasing the production, which is a good thing. It's a good trend that we're on, and hopefully we stay that way. Using the state's formula to calculate the residential usage per capita per day, for the month of May, our residential customers use approximately 65.2 gallons per day per person. And this is a decrease from 67.5 gallons per day. It seems that once you get into the springtime, people start to water flowers, use a little bit more water. We know we like the 50 gallons per day per person, but every year it seems that in April and May, they start picking back up on their usage of water. But I think it's just trying to bring their flowers back to life from the winter. Moving on to the production and runtime by hours by each well site. As you can see the chart here, Palisades did increase, as well as 8th Street and 10th Street. These increases from last year are due to a SCADA issue that we had at South Bay Well, and we've rectified that this month, and we got that well back online, so we should see those numbers decrease in the coming months. That is also reflected in the runtime hours with the chart right below. Moving on to the water billing information. For the month of May, we billed approximately 9.34 million gallons of water consumed by the customers, and this generated approximately $182,000 in revenue. Moving on to the utility department's operation and maintenance tasks that were performed for the month of May. The distribution and treatment crew continued doing their daily, weekly, monthly water quality sampling, analysis, and reporting. monthly meter reading, and continue utilizing the valve exercising program for, and this month they use it on from Pasadena to 10th Streets. Groundskeeping at all well sites and around fire hydrants. They perform painting maintenance on 16th Street reservoirs and the booster pump station. Continued the residential meter replacement program, and approximately 50 meters were changed out for the month of May. We sent Frank Ascension, our water resource crew leader, to training to become more proficient with the district's CMMS program, which is a computerized maintenance management program. We put that into effect approximately a year ago, and that's going to assist the district with better maintenance programs, preventative maintenance, reactive maintenance, and record keeping on all equipment and programs within the district. At our drainage facilities, we continued doing groundskeeping at all sites, ensuring adherence with the fire inspection and weed abatement program. He's not here, so hopefully he hears that later and knows he doesn't have to come after us. Moving on to the last section of the report, the rainfall totals. As you can see, for the month of May, we had approximately 1.53 inches of rain, and that brings the total for this period to 1.6 for that calendar year. This concludes my staff report for the month of May. Do I have any questions from the board?
Any questions? No? Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, General Manager's report, please.
Yes, good evening, Board of Directors and members of the public. This is the staff report from the General Manager activity for June 2019. Management staff completed discussions with SOCIA on the Employee Memorandum of Understanding, and it is under the consent agenda, item 13F. Staff sent out a request for proposals for auditor services, and we received three. All three proposals in the staff report are included as well under consent agenda item 13H. Staff interviewed applicants for the Administrative Services Manager position as well as the Administrative Clerk 1 position. And at this time, we've only selected the Admin Service Manager, and that is Laura Durbin, and we welcome her. Staff worked with Director Fourcroy and Don Roden on establishing the district's new social media program and updated items on the district website. Staff is working on inputting the 2019-2020 fiscal budget into the accounting system. Conservation update, staff participated in the Water Conservation Fair sponsored by the Los Osos Baywood Park Chamber of Commerce. The county, Golden State Water Company, and 4 other local businesses participated. The chamber was able to raise enough funds to help pay for the awards to the Los Osos Middle School students. There were about 50 residents who stopped by to pick up conservation items and ask questions about the rebate program. The district rebate program will be mailed out to all the water customers in the July and August billing cycle, and is posted on the district's website as also available at the district office. Local hazardous mitigation plan, that's still ongoing. Management staff, along with Chief Wong, have been working with the county and Wood Consulting in order to complete the Los Osos portion of the county local hazardous mitigation plan. And we hope to have a draft copy completed soon for Emergency Services Advisory Committee to review and comment. And that is all I have for General Manager's report, unless there's any questions.
Any questions? Okay, no, thank you. Okay, we'll move on to the LOCAC report.
Good evening, David Harris, LOCAC. We had a 3-hour meeting, our last meeting, which resulted in about 440-page minutes, unredacted, 44 pages, just seemed like 400. So this report will be much shorter. I'll try to hit some of the highlights. Supervisor Gibson announced the retirement of Margaret Mayfield, who was our vice chair as well as the long-standing chair of the Land Use Committee. Since she was an appointee, she was replaced by a new appointee, Trish Bartell, who will be seated at our next meeting. And Larry Bender will be taking over as chair of the Land Use Committee. We had a vacancy in District 4 that I had created at the May meeting, thinking that I might be moving out of state, but those plans were scuttled, and I applied and was appointed to fill the seat that I had vacated. Sorry about that. Sometimes senior moments last at least 3 weeks. But anyway, Supervisor Gibson also announced a change in the sheriff's office because we didn't have a sheriff's report, and now we know who the new commander is. Hopefully he'll come to our next meeting. He also announced that reported that the State Water Board met and acted in a way that satisfied the last remaining debt of the wastewater project of $10 million, so it will not result in any increased rates. So that was pretty good news. And he also mentioned that the Coastal Commission is meeting this week, which most of you probably know. This is their second of 3 days. And he had a lot more to say, but we're not going to go into all of that. I really recommend, if you want the full flavor of the meeting, to go on our website, locac.info. We do have a recording of the meeting, as well as Lynette's fabulous minutes. On the CSD report, your esteemed president also gave a spellbinding report and was proud to announce that your water rates would not be increasing for at least another 2 years. So that's very good news for those of you in this water district. I would highly recommend that you try to acquire Golden State Water into your district, but I guess that's probably not going to happen. I think I'm going to start showering with $2 Chuck pretty soon if their rates keep going up. Anyway, and you also announced that you have a new legal counsel who I'm seeing for the first time, so congratulations to you, sir. Okay, we had only 3 items on our consent agenda that were approved. One of them was Golden State Water, proposing to replace an old water tank with a much larger new one at the top of Alamo Drive. The other one was a installation of a ham radio antenna over here on Bush Drive. And lastly, a curb painting to restrict parking on Los Olivos in front of their Rantec Corporation because their delivery trucks are having problems backing in with all the cars parked there. Okay, we had one regular agenda item, and that was the proposed land use permit for landscaping and boardwalk construction down on the south end of First Street where it meets the bay, also called the Bill Lee Project. The Land Use Committee had recommended denial, but asked that it be placed on the regular LOCAC agenda for further discussion and additional input. And boy, did we have additional input. Okay. Mr. Lee was present to give an overview of the project and address some of the criticisms he has received, and many of the people were there. There's also a PowerPoint presentation. And as we shall say, a lively discussion ensued that can best be appreciated again by listening to the full report on our website. The upshot was we did approve it by a 6-3 vote. And today it actually went down to the Planning Commission. And I understand that they sent it back to them with a bunch of revisions. So I guess that matter will be coming back to us again in the future.
No, they approved it today.
As is?
Yeah. No, they made some modifications, but they approved it.
They did approve it, so it won't be coming back. So they changed it from 20 feet back to 12 feet or something like that. Okay, so that's good, okay. We'll have to sell tickets for the next meeting at LOCAC then. Last item on our agenda was our annual election of officers. I was elected chair, Tim Carstairs was vice chair, Lynette was persuaded to re-up as executive secretary, and Christine Womack was reelected treasurer in absentia. So since you weren't there, you still have the opportunity to not take the job if you want out.
No, I'm glad I got the job.
Okay.
Thanks for not firing me.
All right, thank you very much. Okay, that's all I have. Thank you.
I have a question. Just something I've been thinking. We used to get the Highway Patrol report. We haven't seen it for a while. Can we try to connect with them and get someone back, or do you know why?
Do they go to any of the other CAC meetings, you know?
I mean, they
I
used to go
haven't
to
seen one
LoCac.
since, I've
It's
been
been a
going for
long
2
time.
years. I don't think I've ever seen a highway patrol.
I just wonder if, somebody left and we dropped the ball, but maybe we can reach out and get them back.
Okay, good idea. Any other questions? All right.
Thank you. So with that, then we'll move on to the Chamber of Commerce report.
Good evening. I'm Steve Vinson with the Los Osos Baywood Park Chamber of Commerce. Just got a couple of things for tonight. The Chamber has tickets for the St. Louis Blues baseball. The game's going to be held July the 20th. These are $8 tickets. We'll sell to the public for $3. If you're a member of the Chamber, they're free. You get 2 free tickets, and then you can buy additional tickets for $2. So if you've never been to the Blues game, here's a great opportunity. I think July 20th is a Saturday night. Yeah. So if you've never been, it's like a throwback to old-timey baseball. People are laying around, sitting on the grass and watching it, and it's I think it's single A. Somebody, are they single A? I think they are. Familiar single A, double A, triple A. No baseball
It's
fans.
collegiate ball. I don't know what that's categorized as.
Okay. Well, anyway, we've got tickets. If you know somebody, you take your grandkids, your kids, whatever. Just stop by, or actually you can go online and get tickets for the game. The next thing is October 14. We're having our annual ice cream social and joint mixer with the road.
August 14th, not October.
August 14th, not October.
Sorry.
Director Ohilsky.
I am the president of the chamber.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Anyway, here's the scoop, but what a better way to celebrate the beginning of Los Osos summer than with an ice cream chamber, open house, and Rotary mixer. Build your own sundae. We'll have beer and wine. I think last year Rotary was selling beer outside, and I was giving away beer on the inside. And we'll try to get that. Yeah. Anyway, there'll be a crazy Hawaiian shirt contest, raffle prizes, and a preview of Grandparents' Day activities. So this is going to be on August 14th from 5:30 to 7 o'clock. Open to the public. Anybody who wants to come will be there. It's not too early to talk about Oktoberfest, believe it or not. We've already got people who are sending in their money to reserve their booze. We're going to have a couple of different twists. One of them is that it's 41 annual Oktoberfest and 14th annual car show, and we're going to add motorcycles. So we're going to have a motorcycle show as well. And like I said, we've got some other things. I'll hold off on telling those for right now. Oktoberfest is always the last Sunday in October, and this year it'll be on October 27th. It's all day, so you'll be hearing more about that. And that concludes the report.
Could I just add one thing? I'm going to anyway. So we had our open house yesterday at Cal Coast Orchids, and I wanted to thank them for that open house. But for those who aren't familiar with their business, they're out on Blue Heron Lane, and they have unbelievable greenhouses full of orchids out there. I mean, it was just to go out there, it was unbelievable to see that.
Aren't they having an open house tomorrow morning?
The San Luis Obispo Chamber of Commerce is having an open house there tomorrow from 4 to 7.
Okay.
So good. Yeah, thanks for that.
People can go out there, but it was dumbfounding to go through there and find out that they only had one employee, and they were just, you had to see this to believe it. The orchids in there are unbelievable, unbelievable. Those of you who were there would agree with that.
All right.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Okay, so Utility Advisory Committee?
Utility Advisory Committee met a week later than usual, June 25th, due to a scheduling conflict of mine. As a consequence, we had a poorly attended meeting, or we were lacking some members. We will meet again next week. One of the reasons that I wanted to continue with last month's meeting is because we had the final basin management, the annual report. And the key aspect of that report that was commented on and changed during the change from draft to final was the discussion about leakage between different layers in the aquifer and well contamination and how to deal with that kind of subject. We also had utility updates at our meeting, and you'll see a whole list of things on the consent calendar that we talked about at that meeting, and I'm really happy we're getting all those things done. It really feels good to be addressing a lot of those issues. We will be meeting next week, as I mentioned, and we'll pick up the item that we postponed discussing last month because of the low attendance, and that is the modifications to District Code Title II that deal with the water shortage issues and how we handle those. Again, next week we will meet Wednesday at 5:30.
Any questions? Okay, Finance Advisory Committee, we met on Monday. We just had 2 items on the agenda, which was to recommend, the committee recommended that you approve the warrants and you approve the registers. So that was all we had on our agenda. So that's it. Any announcements of district and community interest and reports that attendance at other meetings? Yep.
I do. I wanted to just point out we have a Parks and Rec Committee meeting next Tuesday, 5:30. We'll be discussing dog park and pocket park issues. Please come if you can.
Yeah, and I was going to point this out, but I'll just clarify what we talked about. So at the Planning Commission today, Bill Lee's project on First Street was considered. The Planning Commission did approve it with a reduction in the width from 20 feet to 12 feet with the inclusion of a walkway on that 12 feet. So that's what they approved today. It was approved unanimously. So no. Within 5 feet of the property line. So that was approved today. It was a rather long discussion, but I think that's an item of community interest, so obviously. Okay, so previously asked questions, there's a couple questions that came up again today, and for reasons that should be obvious, the election expenses and the director's compensation issues we'll be addressing at our next meeting rather than today, so. I don't know if there's anything else that's pending out there other than those 2 items. Okay, so we'll take public, does anybody want to pull an item off the consent agenda? Okay, so then we'll go ahead and take public comments for the items on the administrative and committee reports and the consent agenda, since there was nothing pulled. No public comment? Okay, we'll close public comment and bring it back to the board. I guess everybody wants to get to the Coast Commission to see the Morro Bay WRF hearing, which I'm going back to. So, okay, so can I have a motion then? Would somebody move to receive and file the administrative committee reports and approve the items on the consent agenda, please?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Motion and a second. Any further discussion? Roll call, please, Ann.
Vice President Cesenia?
Yes.
Director Womack?
Yes.
Director Torcoy?
Yes.
And President Ohelski?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we had no pulled consent items, and then future agenda items, as I mentioned already, we were talking about the election expenses, and we'll be talking about director's compensation at our next meeting. Any closing board comments? No? Okay, seeing none, then we'll go ahead and adjourn. Those of you who are going back into San Luis to go to Embassy Suites to see the Coastal Commission hearing, I'll be there.
I don't need a